Okay. Good morning, YouTube friends. I just am going to do snippets today of the madness that is going to ensue the Smith household. So I'm sitting here at Jeremy's desk with him. He's working. I'm trying not to interrupt. My kids are doing school and everything is quiet. So I woke up this morning thinking, today I'm going to organize their rooms. I'm going to figure out how to fit 6 kids in. We have plenty of space, but like the organization of 6 kids, like five girls and 1 boy is, in principle simple, but we have 4 bedrooms upstairs that were just for kids. So they were like 2 Jack and Jills, and we knocked down a wall between one of the bedrooms and made it 3. And in doing so, we deleted 2 closets, which in my mind, the closets were useless anyway because they weren't big enough. Did we build new closets? No, we did not. Do we have a stranger coming to our house within the next 30 days or less to look at our house and see how we're going to make this puzzle work? Yes, we do. And I think so it's a little overwhelming. So the first thing that I did was, much to Jeremy's dismay, bought laundry bags for everyone. And I'm going to put their name on them. And I'm going to set their laundry bags where I want their dirty clothes to be. I'm going to start there. So the girls have a room that's like 26 by 14. It's just one big room. And one of them has a super nice queen loft bunk bed. The other 2 have all of the materials to make super nice queen loft bunk beds in the garage. And then our 2 Liberian daughters can have 2 platform queen beds. Similar to the bunk beds, but they'll be underneath. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then all their toys and all their junk can go in there. The one thing that this room does not have is a closet. So the other 2 smaller bedrooms is where our 8-year-old has one and our 11-year-olds share the other one. Now, when I was a kid, it was just me and my brother at home. So I had my own bedroom, my own sort of bathroom. We shared it, but it was mostly mine. And my own walk-in closet. So, it blows my mind how we're going to keep all their stuff organized. But that's what I thought I was going to do today. And then I got this email about our home study. So we have known that our home study needs to be fixed, right? For a while. Oh, no. We've known that our home study needs to be fixed. We thought that it expired. Our original home study was May of 2022. Our updated home study was May of 2023. You have to do it every year in Florida, every 2 years in Tennessee, but every 18 months for U.S. immigration. And if you're filling out your U.S. immigration, your home study cannot be more than 6 months old. All that to say, we did our May 2022. We got our immigration approved August of 2022. We did our May 2023. Didn't have to do anything with U.S. immigration. But our U.S. immigration expired 18 months after August of 2022. So September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, November, December, January, February. So our I-600A expired in February. March 1st. So we got on a plane to go to Liberia to try to get our kids home February of 2024. So we had to do an emergency home study update in January. But we didn't receive the update until March. We got a packet sent to Devin, actually, not me, in Tennessee, to hold while I was living overseas. And so neither of us even opened it. We just assumed it was dated March of 2024, which would make it expire March of 2025, which is 2 months from now, to be fair. So it does not, when we opened it and looked at it, when I got home from Africa, because we wanted to update our home study to adopt 3 kids instead of 2, so that we can then addendum our U.S. immigration paperwork for 3 instead of 2. So our U.S. immigration paperwork does not expire for the 2 kids until October of 2025. If we want to file a supplement form and increase it to 3 kids instead of 2, that's no big deal. And it takes about 1 to 3 months to get done. So let's say, but we can't fill out that form until our home study actually says that we're licensed for 3. Now, getting licensed for 3 is not a big deal. By having a stranger come into our house, we really do need to prepare more for that. Just because it'll just be done when they get here. So there's sometimes that it's really fun to, like the nesting part of having, 6 kids living here now. But then there's other times where it's kind of defeating. So, but when the home study is ready to be up to date, that's our time to make sure. So I doubt we'll finish the bunk beds in 30 days, because the problem with the bunk beds is that we could finish them. All the materials are in the garage, but we keep getting textile donations for Fill the Box. So thank you to everyone that's done textile donations for Fill the Box. So there's not room for us to finish it because there's, 250 bags of clothes in our garage that are in the way of the lumber that we need to finish working on the beds. So if we're going to work on the beds, we have to, and we appreciate all of that. Don't stop bringing stuff, because we need that money to pay for the kids that are going to sleep in the beds when we finish them. So all that being said, we got an email. So we've been waiting. We have to change home study companies because our previous home study company does not do home studies anymore for international adoption because they cannot afford the fees anymore, which is par for the course. I mean, our agency right now is trying to finish their accreditation that they do, I think, every 3 years or 5 years. It costs $20,000, and it's basically every 4 years. Jeremy's correcting me. You're listening. Every 4 years, they do this accreditation and costs them $20,000, but it's basically, our home study costs us $1,000 probably. The agency's home study costs them $20,000, and it is an in-depth deep dive into their business to make sure, if you guys are worrying where the money goes, if you're worrying about all the I's being dotted and the T's being crossed, if you're worried about accountability for nonprofits, like Charity was her name. She did, we did an interview with her because we're one of the families. So I think one family had to do an interview. And she asked us questions like, do you know what this is for? Do you know what that is? She asked us a lot of questions, and the questions were fine. But when I tell you that trafficking is not occurring with Hague accredited U.S. adoption agencies, I'm telling you, it's not. The deep dive into his email, everything, all of this stuff that they do. So while I'm doing this, our agency is doing it for their entire company in all the countries they are accredited for. And then they also are still under suspension in Liberia. So that's a whole nother thing. With no corrective actions, with no charges, with no clear accusation as to what the problem is. Just the umbrella of we need to make sure nobody's trafficking. So now I have this list. So thank goodness our friends Mike and Anna Clark used America World Adoptions, and they have worked with our same agency before, and they are great, and they understand our situation, and got another lengthy email from me today as to all the things we're concerned about. So since we did our home study in February, and we thought it was dated for March because by the time it got to us, we were in Africa, so we thought we had another month. 2 months is a long time. So what is a home study? So today I was going to do organization of how to make 6 kids work beautifully upstairs and downstairs. And my next thing I was going to do is packing for Liberia, because there's a few families that are actually getting excited about packing. One family got through USIS and gets to go home. Woohoo! I'm so excited for them. And the other one, there's another family I've heard that are with a different agency that may get travel dates soon. So don't worry, I'm going to do a packing video. This is just not my packing video. This is my home study video. So here's a deep dive into home studies. So we've done this before, but I just want to, it's going to be a quick deep dive because I don't have time to explain it because I got to do it. But I got this piece of paper right here, and it's actually a checklist, but I printed it out okay, I'm ready for my homework. And Jeremy was like, no, each thing on the document has a hyperlink that you click on and then you do it there. And I'm like, well, they're just so smart. So digitalizing our home studies. Thank you, Jesus, for that. So click on the title to be taken in the required form. So here's what we're going to have. And we've done this before. It's in right here. It's my Trapper Keeper and my phone. And like we've done this before, so it's not terrible. I don't know that I've done it in 30 days. We might have done it in 30 days the first time because I was so excited about it, but I don't know for sure that that's what happened because some of it has to do with other people. So for the last home study, we had to have more references. For this one, how many do we have to have for this one? How many references do we have to have for this home study? 4. Who'd you pick? Jeremy got to pick. Paul, Pastor Paul, Audrey Turner, Devin Cruz,
and
Stephanie Roden, Dr. Stephanie Roden. Dr. Stephanie Roden.
Doctor.
So we had to have more. So if you did a reference for us last time and you don't get to do one this time, don't worry. It's not, we didn't kick you out or phase you out. We just have to have 4. So one thing so Paul Erminger is our pastor at Gulfside Church. He's also our neighbor and lives across the street. I will say this about Paul. Paul is fast when it comes to, now I can be like, hey, Paul, let's do, Paul, I'll talk to Paul and Tia, like, we need to get together. We need to do this. We need to do that. And it's like, oh, but they live across the street. So like to nail down a plan is like iffy. Like occasionally after we go like a month or 2 and we don't hang out, I'm like, one of us will make a solid plan or one of us will have a small emergency and then we will socialize then. But they're our neighbors. But I will say this about Paul. He is the fastest person, except for Devin. He is the fastest person about our adoption paperwork because he's had to do a few different letters for us and a couple of grant letters, just saying that we are who we are. And doing what we're supposed to be doing and signing his official signature to it. He does live across the street. One time I asked him, I said, hey, as soon as you get a chance, I need to fill this out for a grant. You can use the previous letter, just kind of update it and make it look good for this and physically sign it. And I can send it, like I need a signed copy, and then I can send it to one of these grant agencies. And Paul literally, like, I was sitting on my couch doing all these things, and it was on my list. I was applying for grants, doing all this stuff. It's probably, I don't know, a year ago or so. And before I could get off the couch doing my work, like less than an hour, Paul's child was knocking on my door with this signed letter in hand. So like when I say that people are excited for us to finish this adoption and get it paid for, they are. So great job, Paul. Audrey, Devin, and Stephanie are all good friends of ours and all adoptive parents. So they are quick on the draw with these letters because they've been in our shoes. Audrey has done domestic, and Devin has done international and domestic, and Stephanie has done international. So they're quick on the draw. They're fast, and they'll get it back quickly. So they also love us, and they love our kids. So 4 people. So this process is also contingent upon those 4 people. So when you're doing your home study, you can pick someone that's great and that you love, and that would be wonderful for references and all of that. But like when you're doing paperwork, you need to pick someone that is computer savvy and quick. Like you ask, they do it. They don't have to think about it. They do it quick. So disclosure statement basically says we are who we are. Residential history, everywhere we've lived for probably the last 10 years, 15 years. Sometimes since we were 18, I think they ask. Consent of release of information, personal narrative in a Word doc version. Personal narrative is basically like your life story. Birth certificates for me, Jeremy, and all 3 of our American kids. Like the real thing, like not like the hospital. It's like the certified copy. Marriage license. So the birth certificates I think have to be original. Oh no, copy acceptable. So you can make a Xerox. Marriage license, copy acceptable. Divorce decrees and death certificate if applicable. So no one's died. But if you had, so say that you had been married and your spouse had died, then that would need to be filed to prove that that marriage dissolved. Or if you have been married and divorced, your divorce decree has to go in here. Firearm affidavit. This is just something for the state of Florida that we sign, that we keep our whether or not we have firearms, if we do have them, we keep them secured and ammunition separate, and we follow the law on that. Medical report for adults. This has to be recent, so we have to email. Luckily, Jeremy and I use the same primary care doctor, and she has physically seen both of us within the last 30 days because Jeremy just had his regular old physical, and I traveled overseas, so she saw me before I left and gave me my medicine to travel, so she will be able to do that. Medical report for children, so we'll have to talk to our pediatrician and get medical reports on all 3 kids It's a specific form that has to be signed by her. So luckily here in the Lee Health system in Florida, we do have my chart. So that's good. Jeremy's computer just talked to me. I don't know what it was saying. Okay, so health insurance cards. We have to prove that we have health insurance and that the health insurance would add our new kids. Psychological evaluation. It says maybe applicable, maybe not. Monthly income and expenses, all of our finances, financial statements, employment verification, most recent tax return, and then if we're doing, then we have to do training. So if you're special needs or higher risk placement, if you adopt a child with special needs, an older child, and multiple children, you may need to compile a list of resources that will be available to help you. We are adopting older children, and 3 of them. So 987. Child request special needs chart. Okay. Guardianship statement. As your home study, prepare for any country requirements regarding guardianship designation. And then prepare enrich assessment. You will receive a separate email directly from prepare enrich in order to complete this assessment. That email will give you a code to link. This is like training that we have to do. This is required for married couples only. Adult attachment assessment. We have to do there's 2 separate websites that we have to go to for training on adult attachment styles, etc. If applicable, previous home studies. So really what they're going to want is our home study from when we adopted our oldest daughter, Layla, 11 years ago. So when you adopt a kid, obviously you're going to keep a copy of their home study. And it seems important and it seems sentimental at the time. And 11 years later, it's not as sentimental or important as it was that day or even that year. It's like in a filing cabinet somewhere. And Jeremy knows where it is. I know where it is. We do have a digital copy. But if you're adopting, like, I want to just say this to, like, Mallory and Jake if they're watching our video. Like, because they're new parents and just adopted. And they are so precious. And I'm so excited for them. And we have watched their journey unfold. And they have a brand new baby at home. Jake, Mallory, you need to take that adoption decree. And Devin, if you're watching this, the final adoption decree, she finished her Liberian kids adoption this week, legally in the U.S., got everything there so they can get U.S. birth certificates and U.S. passports and all that. This needs to be scanned in digitally and sent to someone. Send it to me. But it needs to be kept because let's say you never adopt again, but you have to have it. Your divorce decrees, your adoption decrees, your death certificates, like these are, if you're going to ever adopt again, then that needs to be there. And if you are in process of adoption, like these are things you need. Rachel Dobson. Okay. Your newest addition. So there's 2 families that started the Liberia journey with us that have added American children along the way. And I'm so happy for them. And there's, I think 2 that have added biological babies along the way, and 1 in progress. But Rachel, you need her adoption decree, your most recent child's adoption decree, because it needs to go in your updated home study. So hang on to it, keep it close, make sure it's digital. So that is another thing we have to do. So not just Layla's adoption decree, like my oldest daughter's, not just her adoption decree, but her home study. So like, Mallory, you need your home study for that baby. Rachel, you need your home study for your daughter. So it's important. And the home study was not as easy to find as her adoption decree. And as I recall, I remember the home study having even typos in it for our oldest daughter's adoption at birth, she's almost 12. So we did this 12 years ago. And I remember there being typos in it, but I didn't want to send it back because snail mail and all this stuff was so, took forever 12 years ago that I just didn't want to send it back. And so I left it, and it's got typos in it. Oh, well. All right, so after that, FBI fingerprint check for every person in the home 18 or older. We've already had that done, so I'm hoping we can just give that to her, and that's going to be enough. Privacy Act statement we have to sign, waiver and agreement statement, I don't even know what that is, but it's VECHS. So I guess we'll click on that. Florida Department of Law Enforcement. We have to get them every year to send a letter to our home study agency to say that we're not criminals and they haven't been here. They don't know where we live. They don't know us. We're not frequent flyers for Lee County. So that has to happen. Law enforcement letter for all household members 18 and up. A household member has been known by any other name. Then you have to go get the clearance there on letterhead. So our name's been the same since we got here, so that shouldn't matter. Certified court disposition. If you have ever been arrested in the past, regardless of outcome, you'll need to obtain certified court disposition from the clerk of Superior Court in the county which the arrest took place. I've not been arrested and Jeremy's not been arrested, but surely there are people that have been arrested. So keep that in the forefront. You need to find it. It does not exclude you from being an adoptive parent if you've been arrested or you've had a DUI or you've had something happen, whatever. Say you stole money when you were in college and you got arrested for it. You shouldn't do these things. These are not exclusion criteria for adoption, but if they're on your record, they need to be just addressed and just explained. That's all. Florida abuse records. So Amy I will have to send a letter we'll have to get on the Florida abuse records and she'll have to run our names and make sure we've never been accused or charged with child abuse in the state of Florida. And then if we have lived in any other state since the age of 18, so we both lived in Tennessee. So they'll do background checks on us in Tennessee and Florida. So again, this whole 30 days of homework thing is contingent upon Tennessee and Florida. So you military families that have moved around a lot, I don't know if there's an exclusion criteria for that. Maybe Courtney or Amanda can speak to this, but I mean, Amanda Kramer, I watched her. She's leaving California and going somewhere else, but she was there before. I mean, she's moved around a lot, so I'm not sure if you guys have to have. I don't know if there's an exclusion for military families or if you have to get clearance in each state. I would say you have to get clearance in each state because a lot of times the spouse is not military. Sometimes they are. In the Kramer situation, they are, but in the Whitney situation, I don't think that Courtney is in the military. She may be, and maybe, I don't know. But I'm just curious about that. And then you have to have an affidavit of good moral standing and an affidavit of moral standing addendum. So there's that. And now we're to the end. Okay. So we would have had to do this home study update at this time anyway for just our girls. But since we're adding a boy, we do have to add some things there and make sure that we're ready for it. We do have plenty of bedroom space. But now I'm going to do my home study homework, but in the back of my mind, I'm still trying to figure out. So what I think I'm going to do is let the girls still keep the big bedroom with their bunk beds. And I'm going to let my son have the smaller bedroom that we did not chop up and make into two. That has its own closet and its own bathroom. It's a Jack and Jill with the girls, but it's his own entrance. And then the fourth bedroom, really the third bedroom remaining, I think I'm going to talk Jeremy into turning into a large walk-in closet for the girls. I told him this today and he looked at me like this. Okay. He listened actively. And I said, I think I want to do, and I gave him my little Rachel spill. And he goes, I said, we'll have to make sure to anchor it to the wall really well so they don't pull on it and pull it down. And he goes, okay. And it wasn't like, oh yeah, that's such a great idea. Oh, they're going to love to have their stuff organized. Oh, I know this has been on your mind for 3 years. And I'm glad we're finally getting to it. And I'm glad you finally have a plan. And I don't, none of that. It was this. Okay. And that's all I need for today. So this is my home study video today, and tomorrow we'll find out how far I got on all these signatures and things I have to do. I doubt my printer is going to survive this, so we'll probably have to get more ink.
They're coming.
You already ordered ink cartridges? See, he is listening.
I'm just busy. I'm always listening.
Are you? What do you think about this home study update?
It's just one of those things I want to get done. It's let's just get it done.
How much of it did you already do?
I mean, I paid the people.
Yeah.
It's an expensive application fee, by the way.
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
It's almost $400 just to say, will you please do our home study?
Just to ask nicely, will you look into our life?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Jeremy did the application while I was in Liberia when we realized that we had faster timeline than we realized. Okay, the chalkboard's behind me if I need it. I'm scared to say goodbye to you guys to start this process, but here we go. So, I just want to say that this is day 1025 of Adopt from Liberia. From the time that we filled out our very first application, had our first meeting with Small World, to today, 1025 days.
Does it feel like we're starting over?
928 days since our Liberian daughters found out that we wanted to adopt them, and they chose us back. And only 30 days exactly from us adding our son. So for him, we're only 30 days in. I think that's helping me. I think the bright and shiny newness of it and the excitement of it. The other thing that was really exciting today is that we did get a message from our Liberian kids this morning, our little telegram, our little encrypted telegram from them. And they're very happy and nice. And our oldest Liberian daughter, who's 8, was very articulate in saying, we pray every day that the suspension be lifted and this process move forward. And she's 8. And she's Liberian, so her articulation and the way that her words sound are a little different than ours. The other two, the younger one is like, we love you, we hope we see you soon, we can't wait to come to America. And, you know, she's like, she always leaves out one of my other kids. She'll be like, to saying their names and she'll forget one. But the older daughter, she never forgets. She says each name individually and specific messages for each and specific things. And our little boy, he was pretty articulate too, and he said I hope, to my other daughters, his message was, I hope you will be excited when I come to America. So I think there's still a part of him that's like, do they really want me, kind of thing. Are they really this, like, is this real? Whereas the other girls bonded with us for 5 months of us living there and knowing that we're their family, whereas he bonded with us not knowing, just we're friends of his. So now that we're actually his real family, I think he's still getting used to it. His foot, though, he told me his foot size was size 31, because I guess that was the last shoe that he wore. So I bought that size in American sizes and took it there. It was a little too small, but he shoved his foot in and wouldn't tell me if it was too small, so I let it go. And I bought him some, they call them slippers, but they're like kind of boat shoes, Velcro, like rubber shoes at the China Mall that was a size bigger, and I put them on him before I left, but I could tell they like barely fit. I was like, oh. So I knew it was a problem, but I messaged the kids and asked, I said, we have some friends that might be visiting soon. Is there something that you really want? And the girls both want a dress. And I'm like, well, that's easy. That's a dress. But our son wants a pair of shoes that fit. He didn't say a pair of shoes that fit. I was messaging with his caregivers, and I was like, is there anything special they want? Sometimes they'll be like, we want yarn, or we want, a baby doll. My daughter asked for a baby doll, or Barbies. They like that kind of stuff. But they asked for a dress, and God bless the family that's going to take them these things. Hopefully they'll roll up small. And so but the shoes, I'm not going to ask them to do shoes. Don't worry, Courtney, I'm not going to ask you to do shoes. I am going to send Nelson some cash for the shoes, and he's going to go to China Mall. Thank you, Nelson. Because I think a European 34, I think is what he actually needs. Because the European sizes they go 31, 32, 33, 34. But like a 31 is like a 13. But like a 32 is also a 13. But then a 33 is like a 2. So, and then a 34 is like a 3. But it's just, I feel like a 34 would fit best. He can put some socks on if it's big. Another thing, too, that we've noticed is that, so he has known that we are adopting him for a solid, he found out on January 2nd, so it's been 2 weeks, but he kind of heard rumors. Like, he heard from our friends probably, so it's been probably 3 weeks overall that he's known that he has a family. And it's been 2 weeks since I personally told him that we want to adopt him. And he, the suspension has to end for this to even be a possibility, because his paperwork is in my hand. Like, we have not started on his paperwork. We will be able to hopefully add him on and maybe expedite his process, which would be an absolute miracle. But more than likely, his process, the girls will come home before him, and it may be another year before he gets to come. But that being said, what we've learned with kids is that when they find out they have a family and they meet that family in person, their diet doesn't change, their environment doesn't change, and these caregivers in this agency is doing everything they can to meet these kids' needs, like aggressively, assertively. What do they need? Celebrate their birthday, have fun with them, like all these things. However, when these kids find out they have families, they grow like 2 sizes. Like, our kids, when we left, could have easily fit into a 5T, 6X. Like, they were little. Our girls were skinny. And they were eating and drinking the same the whole time we were there, eating and drinking the same. But when I came back in January, so it had been a year since I bought clothes for them, they were in a solid 8. And their shoes, I had bought their shoes a little big anyway. So their shoes still fit good. They didn't ask me for shoes when I was there. I didn't see them wearing their tennis shoes as much. But I did see them wearing like their Velcro boat shoes. But when we saw that with our fosters too. We saw that, we've seen that with kids once they get home. And I think with my friend whose son, they adopted him and he got stuck in immigration. He's been there a year. I think he's grown a lot. I meant to measure him, but I don't think I'm supposed to measure kids. I feel like I'm not supposed to. But I know like their foot sizes and their shoe sizes and their height and stuff. I feel like he is bigger. And the other 2 little girls that are twins that have been adopted through the U.S. and are stuck in immigration, when I look at them in comparison, they look bigger and stronger, and their clothes are, they're growing. All the kids are growing, but there's significant jumps in the kids that have families here in the U.S. And I don't know if just that stress of uncertainty being gone changes things for them. I don't know. Because their nutrition and diet is not changing, but their emotional stability seems to be different, and that seems to influence their growth. So that's good. So I'm gonna get to work on my home study, and day 1025 of Adopt from Liberia, but day 30 days into adding our son. We'll see what we can get done.